Hi, it's Tracy from Two Rocks Tarot, and today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm in a Facebook group which actually focuses on archaeological finds, and it's absolutely fascinating. And if I had my time again, I would have loved to have been an archaeologist, and by time again, by even having the confidence to doing something like that. But yeah, an archaeologist was a big dream of mine when I was a kid, and I absolutely love archaeological finds. Archaeological, I think that's pronounced right. And the other day on the Facebook group, they actually had a article on called the the Galloway Horde, and in it there was an actual cross, and I'm going to put a photo right now. And one of the guys who actually who was one of the archaeologists said that you could almost imagine someone taking it off their neck and wrapping the chain around it to bury it in the ground. It has that kind of a personal touch, and that really piqued my interest. And I thought, I wonder if I should actually do a spread and just asking asking the cards what about these treasures that got been found. So it got found by a metal detector back in 2014, and I've put it on the map. So it's in Scotland. These are about 1,000 years ago. So it's been buried for 1,000 years, this particular hoard, and it was found in the green jar that you can actually see. And as you can see, it's still got linen wrapped around it. So it's an absolutely amazing find, and had lots and lots of beautiful things. Well over 100 articles in there. Now, as you can see on one of the arm bands in runic writing is the name Egbert, and so I'm going to be directing my questions to Egbert. Now, I've actually done this video, this is the 4th time because I was having trouble with my sound. I don't know what the hell was going on, so I was having trouble with my sound, so I decided I'll do it again. So I've actually pulled all the cards already, so I've drawn shuffled and drawn them. I'll be using the Celtic Tarot, the Celtic Dragon Tarot for this, because I thought this would be a good deck to actually use. So the first question, so it's just a spread that I made up myself, and what I'll put in the description box is I'll put some more information about the Galloway Horde, and you can Google it if you like and see if there's anything, if this type of thing interests you. But I just thought it'd be a fascinating exercise to actually ask the tarot about what was found. So the first question I asked was, who were you, Egbert? And I got the 3 of Cups. So what I actually got from this card is that I think, can you see the crown there? It's a very small crown. So I think he was an actual prince or some type of a lord or something like that. But someone anyway that was more of the aristocracy anyway. And I feel like it's someone who loved to drink. He liked to drink a fair bit, and he used to go somewhere to sleep it off, perhaps in a cave or somewhere in the woods where he used to like to go and sleep it off. Could even be in the stables, because we got a sleeping dragon there as well. And I was also kind of chuffed to see there's an actual, looks like to be a bottle that's half buried in there. So I think that kind of actually represents the actual urn itself that it was found in. So who he was, I'm thinking, is that he enjoyed his drink. He liked to get drunk. He liked to sleep it off. And can you see too? There's a treasure box behind there as well. So it could have even been his idea. He was the one who came up with this idea about burying the treasure. So the second card, or I should say question, is, did you own the cross? And what I got for that one was the 2 of Wands. So what I thought here was that it was actually a little bit of sibling rivalry. So I think he was the youngest, and he had an elder brother who the cross would normally pass down to. But I think they used to like to fight over it. They used to like to fight over who was going to wear it. So I feel like his older brother used to indulge him and used to let him wear the cross. But I think there was some good old-fashioned sibling rivalry towards this particular cross, and they used to try and probably get their father to change their mind, and like the younger one in particular, that he wanted to have the cross sort of thing. So that was the feeling I was getting from that. So the next, actually had 4 cards that come from this, is why were these treasures buried? So the first card that came up was the Ace of Cups, and straight away I was drawn to the little clutch of baby dragons there. So I think it was a group effort of why these were actually buried. And I feel like that the group who it was, they actually grew up together. So they've known each other from childhood at least. And I'm drawn to the, also, can you see how the faces here are screaming? So I kind of think it was some good old-fashioned arguing amongst this group as well. I don't think it ever got really terribly serious, but I do feel like they used to argue a fair bit. As, you know, if it was like a family, but I'm kind of thinking it's more leaning towards a group of friends, so they used to have their falling outs and things, but really I think they actually deeply... I just thought somebody was going to knock on the door then. I think that they deeply respected and loved one another, as the Ace of Cups implies. Now the second card, actually why they were buried, I actually got the Magician, and straight away I thought it was some type of spell that they performed, because, you know, we've got all the elements here, or, you know, like they've got the cup, we've got the sword, we've got the oh God, I can't see that on the other side. We've got fire, the candle, and, you know, we've got the spiritual dragons at the back. So I do think these were buried together. I think that this was an actual spell that, and that's why these items are buried together. Because don't forget, in the old days, and even indeed still now, a lot of pagans do this, but they used to, you know, offer the gods their most treasured possessions so that they could have, you know, so they could petition them and so they could have their wishes granted. So I do feel like it had some magical aspect to why these treasures were buried. The next card that came out was the Four of Pentacles, and I feel like why it was done was for some stability. Okay, so the reason I'm really leaning towards the spell, and because I've done this a few times now, this video, because it hasn't been working out, my editing software, I do feel like it was for some stability. Okay, it's to help them stable, and I'm really drawn to the purse there with the Four of Pentacles, and I feel like that it was to help them. This was done so they could draw some wealth together. Okay, so it was, but basically it's the stability is the big thing that stands out for me. And then we got the Nine of Pentacles, and of course, you know, if they were a fairly young group, and you know, this is, I'd say he would, I don't know, probably be in his 30s or something like that. Perhaps it was so it's a long-term wealth. So it was a long-term thing for this spell to bring them stability. And don't forget that you know, this hasn't been found for 1,000 years. It lay hidden. So it's a pretty darn powerful spell, if you ask me. The next question I asked is, where did they come from? And I got two cards that come out for this. Sorry, Ten of Swords and the Ace of Swords. Now don't forget, in this particular deck, the swords are fire and the wands are air. So again, you can see the little hatchlings, baby dragons, and they're kind of, you know, hissing at each other and arguing. And I think with the Ten of Swords, I feel like they came through bloodshed, okay? Some sort of ending happened. Because, I mean, as you can see here, she's leaning up against a dragon. There's a pool of blood. Don't really know if the dragon is alive or not, but they're recovering. And I do feel like that these items, there was some bloodshed attached to them, as you know, from these. I truly feel like there was some type of bloodshed attached to them. That's what I'm getting out of that. And the next question I asked was, were they stolen? And I got the Page of Swords. Now again, you know, we've got the sword at the back there. So I do feel like that they were maybe originally plundered, because I think that this was some Viking treasures, and we all know Vikings did like to plunder. So it could have been, you know, something that was stolen. But I kind of get the feeling, because it's a page, I feel like that these items have been passed down from you know, father to son or mother to daughter. I do feel like they have been passed down, but originally I think they did stem from some bloodshed, and that could have been from some pillaging. But yeah, I do feel like they were, I think, a bit of both. Some were stolen, and or all of them were stolen, and they've just been passed down through the generations, and some might have been new. So the next question I asked was, why were all the armbands entangled? And what I got was the High Priest, and I thought that was amazing. So it's definitely, for me, it's definitely some sort of spell. It's an offering to the gods. We've got the two dragons that are kissing behind. We've got all this beautiful Celtic knotwork on there, and then we've got the actual High Priest himself. And I'm just trying to see what he's got, the emblem above his head, but I can't quite make that out. So I do feel like, you know, and because the noses are touching on the dragon, so it was definitely a very powerful spell. It could have been performed even by a high priest, or they went and saw a high priest and got the idea of what to do. But I think that's why they were tangled up, because it's much like knotwork, really, when you think about it. In witchcraft, you can actually do what's called knotwork spells, where you actually tie a knot in a long string of some corresponding colour to whatever it is that you're wishing to manifest, whether it be money, love, health, whatever it is, and you repeat it. You tie a knot and you say a little incantation with each knot, and you keep on going on until you finish. You know, you might like to do 3 knots, you might like to do 7 knots, you might like to do 12, 9 knots, whatever it is that that you feel is the right amount of knots. And so you're putting your intention into this knots. And I feel like the tangled up armbands was all of them putting their intention into that actual, like a knot, you know. It was basically just putting their intention into that knots in the knotwork of silver armbands. And because they were silver, I feel like they were petitioning a goddess more than a god, but, you know, it could have been both. But I really do feel like that it was some type of knotwork spell. And because there was a box pushed in the middle of it that had 3 golden items, now they didn't tell, I haven't been able to find out what the other 2 items were that was in there, but as you can see, that little gold pin that I got there. So I feel like that knotwork and the 3 items that were pushed into that were in the wooden box and pushed into them armbands represented 3 very deeply held wishes that they wanted to manifest. So there was 3 spells. So I don't know, it was 3 spells or 3 different wishes that they held that they wanted to manifest. And that's why it was all knotted up together, because all of them held the same 3 wishes, and that's why it was done. So of course the next one that I asked was, what did the gold items in the wooden box pushed in the middle of them represent? And I got the first card I got was the 6 of Pentacles. So again, that's give and take. When you petition the gods, you give them something, and you know, and they take it off you, and then hopefully grant whatever it is that you are wanting to manifest. So I do feel like that it was definitely they were giving so that they could receive. It wasn't like give and take like the 6 of Pentacles can imply. It was more giving so that they could receive something back. Okay, and that's what the gold items, I still feel the gold items represent 3 wishes, and I think the next card actually highlights that fact, because it's the 4 of Cups. But if you look at that, there's 2 cups upright, and the one in the middle has spilt out. And she's actually playing, the lady in that card is actually playing with the actual, the 4th cup itself. So I think the 3 golden, the 3 golden cups and the 3 golden items that were in that box represents the wishes that all of them wanted to manifest in some way. And I think the why it was done is because they all suffered a loss of some type, okay? They did lose something, and this is why they did this, not desperate, but why they decided to take matters in their own hands and perform some very powerful magic indeed. I mean, you've got to think about it. This hasn't been found for 1,000 years. It's been buried 1,000 years, and it's almost in pristine condition, because there were brooches in there were, I think, earrings, there were beads, there was all sorts of things in there. So I think that's what these 3 gold items represented, like by these cups, is because they all suffered some type of loss. And then the final card was the Star. So yeah, indeed, they, that's why they did it, because there was a deeply held wish that all of them wanted to manifest, and that was represented by the 3 gold items, because most of it was silver. The cross had some gold in it, but these are solid gold. So it was, this is so priceless nowadays, but you can imagine back then, 1,000 years ago, how much that would have meant, how much that would have cost. So because of this loss, they're really trying to manifest some type of actual wish, and having the Star there, I kind of like to think that they actually got their wish. The next one I asked was it a contract of some sort? And the first card that I actually got was the Chariot. And if you can see, I don't know if you can see that, but the dragon's hands are reaching out. They're just about to shake hands. So definitely for me, that represents a contract. And because it is the Chariot, I feel like they all had to travel quite far away. Because if you have a look on the map, you know, it could have been, I mean, I'm not familiar with Scotland. I have been there, but I only went to Edinburgh Castle. But, you know, there's lots of open spaces and everything like that. So I feel like they had to travel quite far, perhaps into the hills or somewhere like that. But they all met. They all wanted to do this. And then the next card was actually the High Priestess. So it's definitely, this was a magic spell. And it was something that that they, and I'm you know, really leaned that it was more towards a goddess that they petitioned. We've got the moon here, you know, the High Priestess. It was definitely a higher being that they were petitioning to manifest these dreams that they wanted to happen for them. Okay, so yeah, that's what I thought. And then the next question I asked is, why were the items never collected? You know, it's been there 1,000 years. It just blows my mind. It just absolutely blows my mind. And the actual card that I got was the Four of Wands. Now, remember in the very beginning, we got the Four of Pentacles, and I expressed that I thought it was because they wanted some type of stability. And here we got the Four of Wands, you know, the most stable card that you can get. There's an actual a couple embracing on the balcony. There is a dragon who's got a sword in its mouth that's looking over his shoulder. He's protecting them too. So I do feel they weren't collected because they got their wish. Okay, they manifested what they wanted to, whether that be an actual kingdom as represented by the castle, a home, an inheritance, or just peace, you know, just to live in bloody peace, like, like, you know, like I wish everyone could live in peace nowadays. You know, the same old fight has been going on for millennia, you know, people fighting and wanting peace, and just the small people copying it, really. So for me, that's why they were never collected, because it was a really, really strong spell, and it worked. It absolutely worked. They got what they wanted. They got the stability they craved. They got the home life they craved, the kingdom they craved. Whatever it is that they were working towards, they actually got, and it resulted in the stability that they wanted. So the final card was, I thought would be fun to ask, is, are any of the owners' descendants alive today, of the owners of the actual jewelry? And the first one I got was the Eight of Swords. And I thought that actually represented the armbands themselves that were all tangled up. And then the next card I got was the Queen of Wands. So to me, I think yes, definitely. And I think it was more of a matriarch line than a male line. But I feel like that the female line lives on because we've got the Queen of Wands. If any males lived, I was thinking that perhaps would have gotten you know, a king and a queen. But, you know, both these images are of actual women. So I do feel like that the, you know, the matriarch line is the one that has survived. And that's why we got the, you know, the Eight of Swords and the Queen of Wands. So I definitely feel that there are some of the descendants that are alive today, but of course we are never going to know. Unless they can extract some DNA, which would be absolutely amazing, wouldn't it? But that's what I'm feeling. And because it is a queen, you know, it could be a royal line. There could be royalty somewhere that, you know, that's where that line is. So I feel definitely that some of their descendants are alive. So that was all the questions that I asked. And I don't know, it just really piqued my interest to actually see these beautiful jewels, you know, and it's like something, you know, it's said that it's never been seen before. It's absolutely amazing. They reckon it was buried around AD 900, and you know, variety of materials and treasures from Ireland, the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms, and as far away as Asia. It's absolutely freaking amazing. So I really, really enjoy doing this, and I don't know, I might do some more of them, because it's really fun to ask the tarot different questions instead of your roundabout, you know, what's my sole purpose or something like that, but just to ask questions of everyday items and see what stories they can tell you through the eyes of the tarot. Because I mean, archaeologists can only do so much. It's all speculation when something's that old, but if you're looking at beautiful ancient treasures from the past and you can look at them through the eyes of the tarot, perhaps they can be able to tell us more than we think, really, honestly. Yeah. I love doing this. I thought this was awesome. Let me know what you think in the comments. Please like and subscribe if you would like me to do more of these type of videos, because I really, really enjoy them. And if you decide to do it yourself, let me know. I think this would be absolutely awesome. Until next time, this is Tracy. Take care.